I'm from the south side, boogie with the bang and the beat. This with the flat-footed rookies don't hang in the street without heat. To compete with the shorties who run the track meet, no baton, just 40s and guns. The rap race got my racetrack running the place. Perpetual paper chase, brothers can't keep pace. Time and space will swift, cops don't come quick. Outsiders wanna rip, but they be butting and lip. You best slide through slick, in and out, don't stop. But see the shorties on the corner, got the eye on the block. Where the out-of-town Arabs keep liquor store. You think Muslim, but look at black niggas is for. Buying liquor, cigarettes, lot of brick in the light. Contradicts his philosophy, repeating his white. The excuses that he uses as his gig at his job is odd. Same excuses of the kids who rob. From a month straight, the squad watched the yard. But then the shorty broke in and botched the job and got caught on the block. Now he rides on lock, but though the brother can't block, he's a damn good shot. So that night, bystanders stood by cameras as reporters talked about the late night manager killed at the carnival. He give his gun over a couple $100 and a fifth of rum. Or don't walk with me. Southside talk with me. Stop staring with your mouth wide. Chill with me. Can't hide from your own kind. Build with me. Strong body with a strong mind. Stroll with me. Roll with me. Spread a little bit of sunshine. Speak with me. Reach the youth. Break the silence. Teach with me. Plant seeds for the island. These are serious times that we living in. No time for living in the living the brothers bumping and babbling for the sake.
Hey.
Yeah, son.
Hey.
Yes, off the what was that? 2005, I think, right? Vintage.
Thereabout. Yeah.
Yeah, little Doug Infinite produced track there. So tie that back in with Doug from episode 1. What's up, guys? Everybody, Midway Radio, episode 3. Just getting into the swing of things. Unfortunately, we will be without risky business tonight.
It's the small things that keep me coming back.
That's what. Carlos just does it wrong thinking.
Most of the time.
And Kevin Beecham will hopefully be joining us shortly. He was, as we all know, that he's up there working for Rhymesayers, so sometimes he gets a little bit crazy. And it looks like we have our second guest of the night just joining us. Thought I saw him log in. Maybe he logged back out. Anyway, guys, welcome. Tonight we're going to be talking to Capital D and Toby Nimble of All Natural. See what's up with them. They've both been two guys that have been in it for a long time, 2 guys that were towards the top of the list for the Midway documentary, and 2 guys that we were able to talk to. So what's up, guys?
Chilling.
What's up, Tone? How you doing?
Good. How about yourself?
We are good. We are good, man. Thanks for coming on, guys, to got a couple different time zones here working with, so thanks for being able to coordinate properly.
Of course.
So, real quick, as we do a couple little quick Midway updates, the interviews are going to be picking up again on a regular basis. I know a lot of people were asking us about that. We took some time off to do a lot of other things, such as the website and a ton of other behind-the-scenes stuff that we'll be sharing with you guys real soon. Of course, the partnership with Columbia College and the Center for Black Music Research. We're going to have more details on that really soon, probably in October or so. We're going to have more details on how we're going to go about collecting things and cataloging things and all that kind of stuff. So I know we've had a lot of people asking us about that as well. One thing that I didn't want to bring up too, seemed to get a lot of people's interest online, is that our See This Far campaign ended last week. Unfortunately, we did not get the goal. But that's okay, because we got a few other ideas in place. We got some other things, so that's not going to slow down how we're doing things. Unfortunately, we just won't be able to speed up as best as we wanted to. But things are coming along, and there's a lot of stuff to work on. So we're going to be fine. Sean Doe.
Yes.
So we've got. So actually, let me bring this out real quick before we get into too much of the hip hop and the all natural stuff, because it's a big thing out there, and he's part of the Chicago family. Everybody up on what happened to Rhymefest over the weekend?
Yeah, I heard it. I heard it robbed.
Yeah.
I don't know the details, but that's pretty clear right there.
Yeah. Just from sitting in his car, and and he went to the station and reported it, and then, you know, they were not treating him like they should, so he recorded it as he should and got that out there, and of course now he's, you know, unlike other incidences like this, he's getting, he got an apology from the city, and they're supposedly disciplining the officers that he went and talked to. So, I don't know, anybody have any thoughts on Rhymefest or anything in there? I don't want to get too political into
I was
anything.
going to say, how deep do you want to go? Because I got things to say. Because, I mean, just there's a lot of very similar things that are happening, and then when people actually do speak out, please see Colin Kaepernick and folks like that. Like the backlash from people making a stand, it's, to me, it's so uncalled for someone to stand up and say, stop treating people like that. And then people get upset when you say, stop treating people like that. Like, are you that narrow-minded and short-sighted as to see that? I can go off on this one, but there. What happened to Rhymefest? What happened to what's happening with Colin Kaepernick? All this stuff. It's just being shined on stupidity.
Luckily, Rhymefest has some reach, because if it was anybody else but Rhymefest, it wouldn't have made any difference. So I'm just glad that Rhymefest had the smarts to start taping when he did, and I'm just glad it's getting. I mean, I don't know if I'm glad it's getting coverage, but I'll just say that I'm glad Rhymefest started taping, and you know, hopefully it does something for him and for us.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah, I think it shows the value of the work that he's been putting in over the years as well. That he has that kind of platform, has that kind of voice, that gets that kind of respect.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was going to say, obviously, we're glad that he's all right, and you know, it's one of those things where it's you know, this is what we talked about today, Sean, where it's like if it was anybody else, it had just been another thing that gets, you know, kind of swept under and just, you know, it's Chicago type of thing. And so, I mean, I guess if there's anything, you know, that we want to come of it, is maybe it'll shine more light and help bring a positive change to it. The fact that he's talking about it. I think I saw that he was just on CNN today or tonight too. I haven't seen that. So I mean, I guess if it just brings another big voice to a not so great situation, that's what's happening. You know, maybe there's some positive that can come from it. But anyway, glad you're all right, Fest. So let's get on with our guests tonight, Mr. Cat D and Mr. Toby Nimble from All Natural. Thanks, guys, for being here. So we interviewed both of you separately for Midway, and we hope to get you guys together at some point as well before we're done. But when Risky and I and Sean just like first started talking to you guys about it, like what were your initial thoughts about the project itself happening, and kind of like what were your thoughts about, you know, just kind of being a part of it, and kind of what this means to Chicago and to the hip hop community?
I thought it was gonna be a lot of work.
You're not lying there, sir.
I thought you were going to have to deal with a lot of different personalities. I admire your
passion.
Tenacity?
That's a good word. Or
Blindness.
You're not, what is that? You're night.
ambition. How about that? Ambition. I admire your.
Is that the word? Naivety? Is that what we were looking for?
Yeah.
Masochism.
I think all those would apply for sure. I
There's a
think
bunch
when
of others that apply too.
yeah. Well, hey, I mean, we knew it was a big project
Yeah,
going
we
into it. I'll be honest, and this could be arrogancy or whatever, but I thought it was a manageable big project. Like I thought it was something that was doable, and you know, it's amazing to see everybody coming together like they have. You know, to date we've done a little over 150 interviews, so we're still a ways to go. But yeah, I mean, like you said, it's you know, it's a big project. So Dave, you know, Kat, when you were in here, I think it was in December or so when you came, and you took a little time off here from your day job to sit with us. But as far as, because you've done a ton of interviews, you're a writer yourself and everything like that. What I don't know. What were your thoughts as to how the Midway team was approaching this, as far as the questions that you're being asked and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I thought the questions showed that you had understanding of the history, and then beyond that, just I would look and see who you guys would have. You had like your typical cats. All different sides of the city seem to be represented. You know, people that had notoriety, who had less notoriety, but still had impact. You know, seem to be doing it right in terms of trying to make sure that we weren't just going to hit one style of music, one part of the city, or even one area. So I appreciate that.
And in your opinions, both of you guys, how important is it to get some of the people that are a little bit more on the unsung hero end of the spectrum?
I think it's really important. As long as however, it depends on how you define unsung. Because a lot of people know me and David's story for the most part, but there's a lot of cats who have a important story as well. That if you could shed light on them, I'm sure that they would receive it a lot more than some of the other artists that you have involved.
For sure, and that I'll full disclosure, like that wasn't the initial concept of the project, and that's not that we didn't want to do something expansive, but as everybody knows, it's if you're trying to make a 2-hour documentary, you can't put 200 people into it. You can't put 100 people into it. It's just not possible. So when me and Sean and Risky and Kevin Beecham were sitting there, we're trying to figure out, we're making our list of who we can talk to and everything like that. I mean, it was within 2 meetings where we started putting everybody down who we talked to, and at first it was, hey, let's talk to the who are the top 30 or 40 people that we need to talk to, top 50 or something like that. And then finally we're just like, man, we can't leave them out. We can't leave them out. And if we leave them out, we can't leave them out. So it just snowballed, and we're just like, okay, we're talking to everybody, everybody that we can. So, and a lot of people, people are recognizing that, and that's great. Like I said, a lot of people know by now that we've partnered with Columbia to do the archive and everything like that. So I think that's going to be a big thing, from hip-hop fans, from Chicago fans, from music fans around the world, to be able to come and check out everything that is Chicago hip-hop.
Yeah, I think for me, it kind of reminds me of things I forgot too. Like I'm watching some of the people that you had on. I think you had 3 Strike Posse.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, all right, Stone knows.
Yeah, dirty. I know dirty.
Like, I used to respect them cats. So, it reminds me of like groups that I haven't listened to in a while, or haven't, especially living out here. I don't run into people anymore, and so it's just a good trip down memory lane for me personally.
Yeah, and we it's funny because whenever I meet anybody and they either know that I'm working on it, or we start talking and then it comes out, or whatever, they're obviously one of the first things that they ask is, who have you talked to? And you know who knows Chicago hip hop by the reaction when you tell people. Like we can say, hey, we've talked to All Natural, we've talked to Twisted, we've talked to Do or Die and Doug Infinite. But then when you start telling people that, oh, we've also talked to DeRoe,
yep.
talked to Aztec De Niro, we talked to Clash Titan and Deli Del. Like then they're okay, now I see what it is.
You didn't just scratch the surface. You dug a little deeper, a lot deeper.
We did, and that's thanks to you guys. Like we've there's only so many people that we can reach through Facebook or through phone calls and that kind of stuff. At some point somebody's not missing. It's guys like you that are like, hey, I'm still in touch with whoever that is now living in Cleveland or something like that.
Right.
That we can get, and we and it's kind of like I don't know. It's definitely putting together a puzzle, but it's also like but like being a collector too. The next one that we get is okay. Now that's another one that we got in place, and we got their their piece to that story that we can all fit it together.
So now let's take a walk down that memory lane. How did you two meet?
We knew each other for a long time.
Right.
I mean, we knew each other since probably, I don't know, 3rd or 4th grade. But we didn't start hanging out. We didn't live in the same neighborhood. We just knew each other through an organization that our parents were in. But we started hanging out our freshman year in high school. Gym class, to be exact.
So who was better at basketball?
David, no doubt. David hooped for the high school club. No, it wasn't. It's not even a comparison. But we played a lot of hoop together.
We're both competitive though, so
we put our hours in. But David was.
Look at that big old smile. He's like, he knows.
And when did you guys first decided that you're going to work on music together?
That's exactly what I was about to ask.
Like freshman, sophomore year, right?
At the same time. He had a turntable in the basement. We were like, one turntable, less mix.
We each had a turntable, and so we would basically trade off weeks. I'd have 2 at my house, then he'd have 2 at his house, and then from there it was deep. We got into doing music together just from both DJing.
You just got done talking about how you're competitive with each other. Well, you were competitive with each other when it came to basketball. Did you guys have that same competitiveness when it came to writing your rhymes and DJing and scratching and doing all that stuff?
Obviously not against one another, but against our peers, no doubt. Yeah. I mean, I entered all types of DJ competitions. He entered MC competitions, but that's what hip hop from that era was. It was competitive. I mean, right. That was basically part of the foundation.
Right.
That wasn't in your DNA. Pretty much, you was probably whack.
Right. But just the same way you asked who was better at basketball, Tone will say me. Like, there's no doubt. I could DJ, I couldn't scratch like Tone, right? So, you're competitive, but you're honest. And you just play your position too. So.
It worked out fine for us. Because I could see other people having issues because I DJ'd and cut, and he wanted the rhyme. So it was a perfect mesh.
Tell us a story about how you guys actually found out that you wanted to do this whole all natural thing. Like, were you guys playing basketball and you guys started rhyming at each other and battling? Or was it someone showed up with the turntable and then you guys were like, all right, cool, this is going to work?
Well, what do you mean doing it? Doing it as for fun or like serious, like we going to try to...
Actually, even just playing around. Like, at what point did you guys know you had a little something to work with when it came to music?
I think it was a lot. It took a long time.
Yeah.
this is a conversation I had with some people recently. I don't want to be that old guy. This is how we used to do it versus how people do it. Anyway, I feel like back in the day, you took years and years, or at least months and months, to hone your skills before you even went public with it. And I kind of feel like that's going out the window. It's kind of like overnight success, or overnight at least posting music with no quality control or no time to hone your skills.
Right. Yeah, that's right. I mean, it took time for me to figure out my voice as an MC. It took, for every beat that ever made it on an album, there's 20 beats that got made, 20 songs that got made that never, made and changed and scrapped, and maybe some of them were good enough, but just didn't make the album. I mean, it was years between.
Go ahead. And then you want to get the approval of your peers. So it was making music, and then, yo, check this out. What you think? Check this out. What you think? And after some people will be like, man, that's whack. Go back to the drawing board. But after a certain point, when you're getting enough, like, yeah, man, that's kind of tight. Or you see your other guy, and you be like, man, I heard y'all doing music now. So the word is spreading. Like, people ain't gonna talk about you. They will talk about you if you whack, but the way they were music, man, we hear you making some nice music.
So, you guys, so when did the deal with Wild Pitch come together?
Did you guys? Go ahead.
I think it was in '94.
Yeah.
So basically, well, you should probably tell it, because I mean, it was Blake and Eclipse and that hookup. So.
Right. Well, I'm not. It's kind of a long story, but my college roommate, one of his best friends was Eclipse. If you guys know Eclipse from New York, he DJs for Nonfiction. He used to work for Fat Beats. He did this show on NYU. I mean, he just ended it. He ran it for like 20 years. So we would send him demos all the time, and he would diss most of them. And then we got to the point where we sent him one, and he was like, man, this is tight. Let me take this to Search. And because at that time he was working for Wild Pitch under Search, and I took it to Search, and Search liked it and was ready to sign it. So at that time, I don't know if you guys interviewed Chris Watkins. Do you know who that is?
Not yet. We're gonna get him.
But you guys do know who that is? Are you familiar with him?
Oh, okay. I am.
Okay, so he was our manager back then. And he flew to New York. We grew up with Chris, so he flew to New York and met with Stu Fine from Wild Pitch, and then the rest was history. We recorded like 4 or 5 songs, and then Wild Pitch went under.
Wow. So go ahead.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
So All Natural is the group. All Natural Inc. is the label. What made you guys try, from having a group, what made you guys decide to go to the label side of things?
I mean, in a lot of ways, it was. So in the summertime from school, I used to work at Third World Press, book publisher, and then Tone worked at Third World Press, and All Star actually worked at Third World Press as well. And for me, it was kind of like seeing Hakeem Adabudi, who owns Third World Press and owned the Black Bookstore and owned the school. He made that all those institutions come from being a poet from the 60s. So basically, Black Arts Movement in the 60s, he was a poet in the 60s, and then he created these institutions where he put out his own books, put out the books of his colleagues, and, boom, had a company that had, at that point in time, lasted for like 30 years.
Yeah.
And so I looked at it like, all right, well, hip-hop is like the Black Arts Movement from the 60s and the 90s, and why can't we do the same or something similar to what it is that he did? So that was seeing that blueprint and working for him is kind of the inspiration. And as Tone mentioned, Wild Pitch went bankrupt. So
the one thing, and we already knew we had the Wild Pitch cosign. So back then, Wild Pitch had all the tight artists. So
Yeah.
the fact that Wild Pitch wanted to sign us gave us the confidence that we had a good product already.
Right.
And with that being said, it was easier to make the decision to go ahead and put out our own record.
Was it the initial plan to do a full-fledged indie label, or was it strictly you're just going to put out All Natural and then whatever happens? Like, what kind of came first? Like, we're going to set up a label to set up a label, or just to set up a label to push All Natural, the group?
It was always, we're going to put our own record out, and then we're going to put out, people that we vibe with, the people that we recruit with. So when the first album came out, that's why you had All Star with the guest appearances, because All Star was slotted to come right after us. So it was always kind of try to plant the seed for the next artist that we're going to try to put out. So it was, building a label, but it's really putting out our record and putting out other people that we thought was good.
How did the All Natural family link up with the Mole Man family?
Gramophone.
Mm.
We were putting out our own records. They were putting out their own records. JR was working at Gramophone, and he would see our records, and he appreciated what we were making, and I would hear his music, and we would appreciate what they were making. And I think one day we went over Panic's crib, and he played us some beats, and I think that's where we heard "It's Okay" beat.
That's right.
Wow.
That's right.
At what point were you guys on stage? And if this ever happened, let me finish my question. At what point did you guys, maybe you were on stage or you're in a studio somewhere, at what point did you guys look at each other and say, oh, hell yeah, we are here?
New Orleans, Tom. So,
we probably have different answers. Let's hear what he said.
So, one of the first times, so I dropped out of school and moved in with Tone. Me, Tone, Steady Serve, and Andy C were living in Tone's one-bedroom apartment down in Jackson State. And we had a show at Xavier University in New Orleans. And we didn't have anything we could do off of wax. So when we would do a show, we'd have to go straight off of the DAT. So we had this song called "People in the Audience," and like people in the audience, they car out Hope from Q-Tip.
Try.
We did the song, and the crowd it's like 2,000, 3,000 people out there. It's like the biggest crowd that we had ever performed with in front of, because we were just opening for Chub Rock. It's like a big outdoor music festival.
Were your knees knocking?
We had the crowd rocking, like in the palm of the hand.
Frenzy. It was in a frenzy.
It was on. And so then we switched up from People in the Audience to this other song called Lisa Lovejoy, which is like a real mellow kind of Tribe Called Quest, laid back, chill song. And we were in New Orleans, and they weren't feeling that. And so we went from the whole crowd, it's like, we got 2,000 people, to people throwing pennies, it's like, so that was the first time that I think I realized the whole palm of the hand versus know your audience, and it's good to have stuff on vinyl so that Tone can call it audible. I mean, that was we learned that in order to rock a show, you can't go to the show thinking, all right, I'm going to do this, and then we're going to do this, and we're going to do that, and we're going to do that. And from that point on, Tone, we never planned out a single show.
Right, we just always know the song.
We were always pretty much in with 50 years. But Tone would basically, when he hit the stage and he was feeling the crowd, he would say, all right, we're going to do this, and then we're going to do this. And he basically tell me, or he wouldn't tell me, and he just throw songs, and I kick rock.
Whoa.
I've seen it.
Yeah. But it was that learning experience of that first time when that was before Wild Pitch. it was like right before Wild Pitch. And we killed it for about 3 minutes. And,
yeah. I got pictures of us at that show somewhere.
How about
Tom,
you, Tom?
what was your experience?
Man, there's so many that it made me reflect back. I remember when we were recording our 50 Years was the song that was coming out on Wild Pitch. And a song called Hip Hop Is Back was on the flip side. And I just remember us recording that in Streeterville and how it was sounding in them speakers. And us sending that data off with the completion, how on 10 I was. And like, yeah, it's about to go down. It is what it is, but yeah, I remember the Streeterville experience because that was the first. We went in studios, but that was another level type studio, and to this date, that's the only studio we've been into that's been quite on that level. Everything else was either a smaller studio or a home studio.
Speaking of 50 years, you guys have had a ton of classic and memorable songs, but 50 Years, which came out so early in your career, why do you think that particular song has stood the test of time? What has made that special where everybody still talks about it to that high degree to today?
I think it's a real nice sample, and so, I was looking for samples, over the last few months and just trying to, every album I try to create, I need that 50-year sample. I need to find that 50-year sample, and I just never can find it. It's just, so I think it's that sample it's a real good sample. To Tone's point when he was talking about taking years, that song went through iteration after iteration after iteration. The first version that we sent, I remember Eclipse used to diss the drums, right? Because the drums didn't match. So I had to, he forced me to try to go back and, all right, now, those drums are whack. We had the substitution drums under it for a minute. We went through all sorts of different versions of that. Yeah. The rhyme itself, the concept was not made when the beat was made. So the beat was made, and I had a concept for it. That was the Mac song, right? Mm-hmm. So yes, so I had a rhyme about my dog over that beat. Tone didn't quite let that ride. Right. So, and so it was just trying to figure out what's the right rhyme. I probably wrote 5 rhymes to that beat, trying to figure out what's the right vibe for the beat. Until I finally came up with that concept. So it was just we took our time with it. So it was probably a good year between when the sample got made to when we actually had the beat and the drums right, to when the rhyme to the concept was right, with the scratching right, and it took a long time for that song.
And interesting enough is the version that Wild Pitch has is different than the version that came out. The version that you heard is when you were over here, I showed you the DAT of the original version. It's out. You could hear a significant difference.
Do you think that's the one that's you've worked out the longest on that song out of any song? Or at least had different iterations, different beats and rhymes and everything like that? Have you worked on another song that much?
There's a lot of songs that had that same type of test, so to speak, or
MC Avenger.
Even songs that hadn't come out. I remember you had a bunch of songs to Essence of the Art Form beat.
Right.
So what's a typical workflow like when you guys get in the studio together? Is it coming up with ideas together? It's one person, do you make a beat and bring it in? Tone, do you have a concept for a song? What would you say is kind of a general working style with you guys?
It changes. It could be we get a beat take from the moment, we go through the beats, and Tone will pick out beats that he likes, I pick out beats that I like, and we figure out which ones, we think match the vibe of the album or what we're trying to do, and then, we go from there. It could be I make the beat, send the beat, I might send Tone several beats, and he'll be like, this one, that one, not those two, or something, and then I start working on rhymes. You know, it really changes. There's no real formula to it.
All right, no set formula.
So, obviously you guys work together as All Natural, but then you also do the other things. You're running the label. Cap, you've put out several solo albums, but you also are now not just a music guy. You're on the West Coast doing something non-music related, which is working for the Golden State Warriors. How do you still get time to work on music?
I do. I mean, I was working on stuff last night until about 2 in the morning.
Sick.
Nice. And is this part of a project that may be seeing the light soon, or do you just kind of work on stuff and kind of see how it goes?
It'll see the light, but you know, depends on whether it's going to be something that really gets heard, you know, or whether it's just something that I will just put out there and just, you know, only the few people who find it will ever hear it. Is, you know, or, you know, could it be something that ends up on another All Natural album? You know, just I let that kind of stuff take care of itself.
It's some heat, though. It's some heat.
Nice.
Can I put in a request? Cap, Tone,
Yeah.
if you guys can get together to play some music at the Warriors games that replaces that da 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 song, if you guys could please write something hotter than that so they can start playing that, Cap, leverage your relationships,
He
get
did a
that thing
promo.
going.
He did a promo for the Warriors.
Yeah, that was.
Did you?
Actually,
Yeah.
it's so sick. I got the video of it and I play it in our at our video night. So yeah, yeah.
Hey.
I represent.
How did that come about, Cap? Did they ask you? Or did they? I mean, clearly people in there probably knew your background. So did they ask you, or were you pushing to say, "Hey, I got an idea for something"? How did that one come up?
So we had started. It was the first season I was out here. We started the season with a promo that had a hip hop beat and Mark Jackson just kind of talking. And they had like videos of the players working out. Mark Jackson was kind of talking. He's talking about, "You ready for the show?" And then it was the first year we had made the playoffs since 2007. So when we were going into the playoffs, I basically was like, all right, the beat was actually a dope beat that we had used in the commercial. So I was like, well, if we can get that instrumental of that beat, I'll kick a rhyme about the show, about how the real show is about to start. The real show is the playoffs. So I came to them with the idea. And, you know, there's a couple of people here that are, you know, hip-hop heads that span beyond the Bay Area. So they were with it.
Nice.
Cool. Tone, what have you been working on here in the last? Well, I mean, you're doing a lot. You're doing a ton of stuff. So what, besides All Natural, what do you got going on?
Man, I don't really do that much. All I do is really collect super rare records and find stuff people never heard and edit it for disco DJs. That's about it. It's real low key. It's real niche, but I enjoy it.
What's the next thing that we got coming out on All Natural Inc.?
I don't know. I have a few things that are just sitting here. Like I said, I don't know if I ever put anything else out, or the next thing that I if I was to put something out soon, it would probably be the unreleased All Natural single with 50 years and hip hop is back, since pretty much nobody's ever heard it. Then me and Dave, like Dave said, we have an All Natural project. I just have to figure out how I would be involved in it. Then I had the idea of releasing music from people that we had relationships throughout the years with, but they never really came out. So I had got approval from Jock Max to put out something from him, but I never really followed up on anything. But there's opportunities. It's just if I wanna, the game is so different now. I don't know that I want to relearn the game to to do an artist, at least give the artist the best energy that I felt that I could.
Well, I don't know if Cap remembers, but I interviewed you back in 1997 or 98. I was doing a few hip hop stories, but one in particular, I was doing one on hip hop and how it's going to take advantage of the internet back then, because you guys were, at least as far from my perspective, was, some of the founders of like the independent hip hop, especially in in Chicago and that kind of stuff. So I guess how have you seen, and this is for kind of both of you, but how have you seen the game change because of the internet, as far as somebody from you guys doing it, like you said, trying to, you're sending stuff to Eclipse and he's saying, nah, this ain't good enough, or this ain't good enough, and you're trying to catch that one, and now you have somebody like Chance who can just go in the studio tonight and put a song out for people to download tomorrow. So what do you say about the game changing like that, and for the positive, negatives, what do you think?
I mean, there's positives and negatives in it. It kills me sometimes when old cats, especially people like, for me, a tone to just the internet, when we came out in that era where we were able to fully take advantage of it before everyone was able to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Critical, right? Timing was perfect for us, that we were able to come with an independent label just at the time when the internet allowed you exposure worldwide, but not at the time when everybody had kind of inundated the industry. That was a good time for us. We took advantage of it. But with that comes that now everyone just kind of inundates it, and you don't have the quality control that Tone talked about, which sometimes it can be a good thing, that you can get an artist's raw, what he's feeling today. Like, I'm going to talk about Kaepernick, and I'm going to put it out tomorrow. You're going to hear it. Like, that's a good thing. At the same time, what I talk about might not be dope. And, you might miss out. I might come out with the song on the 50 Years beat about my dog, because I didn't spend the time, putting that song together to create something that could be memorable or classic or whatever. So that's just two sides of it.
One thing that I've been saying for a while, and Chance says the same thing, but I've been saying it for like 3 or 4 years, with the internet and direct access to your fan base. I don't really think artists need labels.
Mm-hmm.
Not because of what what the label represents and all the legalities you have to deal with. Mine is you could sell it if you have a direct link to your audience, and you control your product. You could put up your own link and let your audience know you have music available and cut out the middleman. It's not like music sales are, even for the large artists, they're still significantly less than it used to be. 10 million was good. Now somebody that sold 1.5 million, that's great. So the profit margin for music sales is so small anyway. The less hands involved, the better off the artist is. And that's one of the reasons why I haven't really tried to get involved with artists, because I'm conflicted. Because I'm like, well, really, our whole thought process was truly independence. And now that same thought process, if you're truly independent, you shouldn't need us. We can help you, but you shouldn't need us to help to put out your own music. And basically, if you don't need us to help you put out music, then you shouldn't really need us at all. Because at that point, there's nothing in it for us.
Right.
So promote yourself and put your music on Bandcamp and keep it moving.
Right.
Yeah. I would agree with that, for sure. So as we kind of close this out, I don't know if there's anything that you guys want to say or want to touch on or anything like that. But one thing that we'd like to do is just give a couple of kind of quick choice answers to the guests, kind of catch them on the spot and see what they think. So, Tone, I'm going to start with you. If you had to choose this or that, DJing with 12 inches or 45s?
12.
Why?
12 sound better. It's as simple as that. I feel like I play a lot of disco records on 45, and I feel like I can't enjoy them. like 3 minutes, time for the next record. So it's more of a concentration thing, where with 12s, they sound better and they're longer, so you can really kind of vibe out to the music a little bit better, in my opinion.
Wonderful answer. Cap, Chuck D or KRS-One?
KRS-One. To me, both great writers. KRS-One had more range in his voice. You know, he had more styles. He invented a style. He invented offbeat rhyming. So to me, it's Rakim and KRS-One are 1, 2. So yeah, KRS.
Cool. Tone, Grandmaster Flash or Jam Master Jay?
Grandmaster Flash.
I would agree with that one as well. Finally, Cap, everybody wants me to ask you Bulls versus Bulls or Warriors. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to put that on spot.
That's easy.
Did you see his face?
I know it's going to be easy for you. I'll go with the Oakland A's or the Chicago White Sox.
White Sox, come on, man.
Right, that's right.
Every Chicago team other than the NBA.
Then the one, yeah, then the one on your paycheck. We understand.
Although I'll go A's over Cubs.
Easy.
Wow.
All of a sudden, his internet went out.
I have a question that's not a this or that, but because I have a relationship with you guys personally, I want to ask this question. Because the logo is of the elements, what element most represents you as a person? If you had to choose one.
That's a good question.
I would say Cap. For Cap, I would say he's always growing. So
yeah. That's true.
That's just from my personal experience from dealing with him since high school. He's always evolving. I admire that.
Yeah.
Sometimes, even myself, I get stagnant. I'm stuck on one thing, and he's able to say, okay, enough of this, and go to the next thing and evolve.
Yeah.
He may have a different answer for himself. That's just.
Well, I'll answer you. For Tone, I say Earth, because grounded, always solid. You know, steady. You ain't got to worry about it. No question. You know, just always grounded. So I say Earth for Tone.
I agree with both of those.
That's real cool.
Right up.
All right, guys. Man, thank you so much to both of you for taking the time to come on and chat with us a little bit. I know we got a lot of people watching. So, man, this was fun. Thank you.
Speaking of people watching, a shout out to 606.
The 606 guys. Yes.
And Storm G is there harassing the people in the chat.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, appreciate it, man.
And good luck on your journey, because that's what you're involved in.
Exactly.
That's not meant to be funny or negative. Yeah. Good luck with your journey.
No, we laugh because we
keep what you're going through, but I know it's heavy. It's a heavy workload.
Thanks, Tom. Man, we appreciate that, and that's it's one of the things we try not to put out there too much that. Man, it's a lot of work, or it's a burden, or anything like that, because it's not. But it is a journey, just as you said. It's a long journey, and that's, I guess, if we want anybody to take away as far as like the Midway project goes, like that's the one thing that we want people to recognize, is that it takes a while to get through all this. So we'll get some emails every once in a while from people who think that we might have missed them, missed their interview or something like that, or they were late or something like that. It's like that's not the case. It just takes a while. Takes a while to get to everybody, to cover everybody, but we're gonna get there. So we're starting to ever so slightly see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's a very, very small light, but it's coming.
And it's not a train.
So like people like us appreciate it. Like I'm paying attention and appreciate it. So for whatever that's worth.
Yeah, I mean, take it from us who tried to had lofty vision. The bigger the vision, obviously, the more the work. That's all that I could say. And your vision is significantly bigger than the vision that we had to involve the whole city and all the history. And with that comes a great deal of responsibility, and I'm sure you some hassles and headaches and some rewards as well. So good luck with that. Good luck with it.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
You guys think that it might just be a little, but it means a lot, because exactly what Ryan says, it's all of us have our heads down and we're all pushing to get this thing going, and we can only hear each other trying to pick each other up so many times. Like, Ryan is tired of it. It's okay. We're gonna push through. You know.
Here's one thing that I will say. And I hold myself accountable and guilty as well. How many people have you interviewed?
152, 153, something like that.
Okay, that's a lot of artists. If each artist put up $10,
preach.
So I hold myself guilty as well, but I'm just saying the fact of the matter is,
right.
If each person put up $10, you would be straight. And I'm sure there are a lot of artists. This exposure means way more than them than $10.
Yeah, I will not disagree.
I know you have to take the higher road, but I'm just putting it out there in the universe so cats know.
Gangster.
Thank you, man. Thanks. Yeah, that's again, to get into it. I mean, like you said, it's a journey. There's it's a small group of people that work at this on a daily basis. And I mean, heck, I quit my job 2 years ago to do this pretty much full time. So that's it's been my life going on almost 3 years now. 3 years come December. So as much as I love doing it, we do want to see it come to a successful end at some point, but not until we get it right. We're not going to force anything. We're going to make sure that it gets right, and we do right by all of you guys and everybody else that we're talking to and that we know personally and professionally, and so like Carlos said, man, hearing it from you guys, thank you very much. So, quick to close out the show, I just want to mention a couple of events going on this week. 606 Open Mic Tuesdays. It's been going along for a long time now, almost 20 years. You can catch them at Subterranean. It's free, 10 p.m., hosted by Shadowmaster. And then on Saturday, I want to definitely mention this. It is the annual Heckle Fresh Back to School Jam. And this Back to School Jam is led by Mine One, and it was started by her and her late husband, graffiti legend, as everybody should know, Heckle Fresh and Shy Rock Nation. Cuban Links and the nonprofit Chicago Underground are also collaborators, and this is where members of the hip-hop community, including DJs and MCs and barbers for the B-boys and nail techs for the B-girls, face painters, photographers, videographers, graphic designers, and more, will be volunteering their time to perform, to cut hair, to do nails, to give out food and school supplies while they last. It'll be a day of fun, hip-hop, love, and nonviolence, and it's all free. They'll be accepting donations all the way up until September 2nd, and they're looking for school supplies, food, water, volunteers, and a whole lot more. And to get more info, check out Chicago Underground's Facebook page, facebook.com/Chicago Underground 2016. And that event that'll be this Saturday at the Blessed Sacrament Youth Center. That's 3600 West Cermak. And that starts at 10 a.m. Finally, quick note to our two sponsors for the night. One's Genesis Art Supply. They're located at 2525 North Elston. They've been a family-owned and operated independent art store since 1946. They're Chicago's premier location for art, drafting, framing, and airbrush needs. Their emphasis is on community. They've been a great supporter to the Chicago hip-hop community and to Midway. And they're the one-stop shop for all your creative needs. They got an 18,000 square foot location that consists also of Q4 radio and a gallery and event spaces for classes, shows, artist meetups, and more. And for more information, you can check out their Facebook page, facebook.com/Genesis Art Supply. Finally, Emporium Arcade Bar, thanks to them, that's where we hosted our launch party on July 28th. And they're Chicago's most popular adult game venue. They've got all your favorite video and arcade games, pinball machines, and tables. And they also host many different events throughout the year at their two locations in Wicker Park, 1366 North Milwaukee, and Lincoln Square, 2363 North Milwaukee. For a complete list of games and events, check out their website, EmporiumChicago.com. For Midway, I'm Ryan Brockmeyer. I'm the director and one of the producers on the project. You can check us out at MidwayDocumentary.com, where you can find a whole lot more information on the film. You can see cast profiles of everybody that we've talked to, including these two fine gentlemen that we've talked to tonight. You can also follow us on Twitter at MidwayDoc, Instagram at MidwayDoc, and Facebook.com/MidwayDocumentary. Barb Kalicki is our social media producer. She's with us tonight. Carlos Gomez, he is our co-producer, tech, all-around dude. Mr. Sean Doe, who's also a co-producer, researcher, does it all. So, Cap, Tone, thank you guys again for joining us, man. It's been fun. And hope that everybody listening had a good time as well. Carlos, why don't we close it out with 50 years?
Fast forward to the future, the year 2044. And let me tell you what's in store, just so you won't be surprised when we blow up before your eyes. And when you watch my kids grow up, then you'll realize that my literary talent was genetic, or prosthetic, not prophetic, or poetically prophetic. Now 50 years down the line, we gon' all